Most people think that being rich means having money. But if money alone made people rich, then a lot more people would be feeling free. And they don't. Some of the most stressed people I know make a lot of money. And some of the most calm people I know live very simply and below their means. The difference between the two? Money management. Let's talk about what being rich actually means. I'm gonna say this up front. This video today is not about comparison. It's not about making you feel bad. It's about clarity. Because most people don't know what rich actually means, and they definitely don't know what wealthy means. So today we're breaking down how much money you should have by age, rich versus wealthy edition. Welcome back to Glowing Together. If you've ever asked yourself, what should you be aiming for? Or am I behind? This video is for you. Before we start breaking down the numbers, we need to start breaking down definition. What is rich? What is wealthy? It's an argument as long as time. I feel like people have different definitions for these two terms, but today I'm gonna give you my definition and we're gonna make it clear. Being rich is usually tied to your income. People who are considered rich typically either make a lot of money, live a nice lifestyle, or just seem to be able to afford the nicer things in life. But what being rich isn't is what wealthy is. Being wealthy means having assets and sustainability in the long term. And that is what we're gonna be aiming for when we're building generational wealth. Being rich sounds nice, it can feel nice, it can look good, but underneath the surface, there's so many problems that we need to address with this way of thinking. We're not shoot for having a good salary for a couple of years. We want the stars, the moons, the earth, the galaxy. We're going for it all. I always say a little bit of healthy delusion is okay, just a little. Don't take it too far. Your money is going to be working when you're not. You can go to sleep and you're making money. You can be eating and you're making money. And that's what we're going for. When you're wealthy, your lifestyle won't collapse if your income slows down because you have assets that are replacing that income. The big takeaway here is that you can look rich while having zero wealth, and you can't be wealthy without having sustainability in systems. Let's just put everything on the table. We're not going to use these numbers as something to beat ourselves up over and absolute rules. Everybody's situation is different. And so please keep that in mind and tailor this to your situation and the goals that you have for yourself. Because at the end of the day, comparison is a thief of joy. You don't need to have a bunch of money to be happy. But if you are looking to build generational wealth, it is important to have some numbers and to use as reference point. Knowing your target helps you to continue to be intentional and keep making forward movement. How much income should you have by age? At 25, to consider yourself rich, which is income focused, you would need to have a net worth around $50,000 to $100,000. So this just means basically maybe you have a good job, maybe you entered corporate, you graduated from school debt-free, you got scholarships, probably been working for maybe 2 to 3 years. So you've just invested in your 401k, you've built up about $50,000 in your 401k with matched contributions. And now you have some momentum and some investments going. But maybe that's where you leave it. You're not super into investing. You probably don't budget every single day, but you are doing well. And so now you are what we would call rich. Now, wealth at age 25 is going to include a little bit more. So we want to have that $0 to $50,000 net worth still, but we also want to have something like an emergency fund. Do you have $1,000 saved? Do you have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved? $1,000 is nice, and actually most Americans don't even have that. But if you can get 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses into the bank in your savings, you're doing really well.
Good job, Kylie. You're doing amazing, sweetie. Wow, look at her go.
Once again, in this scenario, hopefully you have no student loans, but if you do, you're paying them down and they're not at a high interest rate. You don't want to be entering into car loans and credit card loans and all these other expenditures with not as many assets. If you have a house, you are definitely in the wealthy category. Point blank, period. That is a big accomplishment to have by age 25. Average first time home buyer at this point is in their 40s. So if you are able at any point in your 20s to be able to purchase a home, you are definitely in that wealthy category. The next metric that we need to look at is not something that is going to be a number. Are you learning? Are you building? Are you growing? You need to be continuously learning, especially in your 20s. This is probably the amount of responsibility you will have in your adult life, because as we get older, more responsibilities come. So this is the time to really lock in, say no to the party, build your dream. Every weekend when everybody else is out and they're just getting lit and they're partying and they're doing whatever, you could be at home building your legacy, building your dream, and building the thing that is going to bring you real peace and happiness and freedom in the long run. Education or whatever it takes to get into that field or really have that passion that you so desire, you got to invest into that. Think long term. I think that is one of your biggest keys in your 20s. By 25, if you are thinking long term, you have more wealth in your pinky than most people will have in their lifetime. All right, 30. Yeah. By age 30, to be considered rich, you'd be making around $70,000 to $120,000 a year. Now that is a good chunk of change, you guys. So that I can totally see why people would be fooled to think, oh, I got this 70K, got this 120K, I'm doing it. I don't need to do nothing else. I'm rich. Don't play with me. All right, calm down. Our net worth is like 100K to 300K. So maybe you did have your student loans, but now they're paid off. You don't have any debt. We're making great money, but are we investing it? Are we investing how we should into assets that will continue to pay us? And so I want us to keep in mind that just because you are investing doesn't make you wealthy yet. You know what I mean? To be wealthy, you would need to be able to replace your income with those investments. Let's take a look at the wealthy side of it. Worth. By age 30, if you have a net worth of $300,000 to $500,000, you're doing it. You definitely need to have retirement accounts started. If you don't have retirement accounts, just go ahead and etch wealthy off your name, because we're not thinking long term. That's like rule number one. You would definitely need to have a couple of assets under management. And now we're thinking bigger. We're thinking property managers. We're thinking systems. We're starting to see a structure in place. We're starting to actually see something tangible that you can build momentum with. So one of the biggest things that is going to help you guys build wealth overall, period, no matter what age you are, is starting early. It's time value of money. That is going to be our word for today. I want you guys to make sure you look it up and that you really do a deep dive into time value of money. That's our word of the day. This is going to save you so much work, stress, and headache in the future. The concept essentially means money I have now is more valuable to me than having more money in my hands in the future that I didn't have previously. You need to get in the market as soon as possible, because the compounding of your money in the market, whether that be the real estate market, the crypto market, the stock market, whatever market, that compound interest is serious. Compound interest will run circle around any sort of scheme that you can come up with. Put your money in the market, even if you don't know what you're doing. This is not investment advice. Please do not take this as investment advice. Everything that I'm saying is my opinion. I by no means am telling you what to do with your money. But what I would do, even if I didn't know what's going on, I would at least invest into index funds, something that depends on the whole stock market, something like the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones or Spider. All of those will basically aggregate a bunch of companies together for you, and your money will be based off of the performance of the group instead of a single individual stock. And that is the simplest way to enter into the market without any investment knowledge. And do not fear when the market goes down. In fact, for me, that's a sale. Time to buy. Time to go shopping.
Get in, loser. We're going shopping.
Anyway, invest. Overall, in your 30s, you definitely want your equity to be growing faster than your income. And this will really show you whether or not you're reaching for wealth. 35, you are considered rich if you're making $100,000 to $200,000 a year and have a net worth of $300,000 to $750,000. So as we keep going up in these numbers, I understand that these are big numbers, you guys, and anybody making this amount is very blessed. But once again, you can be making that money and then poof, job gone, no assets, no wealth, nothing to fall back on. One thing life has taught me is going life. So you just never know. You need to always be preparing for your future. Now, wealth. By 35, to be considered wealthy, you're looking at a net worth of $750,000 to $1.5 million. Y'all, please get me in this category. You guys shoot for the floor. I'm going to shoot for the moon. So hopefully I'll be making more than that. We are all going to be striving for this goal. So let's do it together. Let's continue to glow together. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying this video so far. Drop your wealth numbers down in the chat. Please let us know what you think you need to have to be wealthy, what age you are, and what you're going to be shooting for in the future. There are a couple things that we want to have accompanied with that. We want our lifestyle to be fully supported by those assets. So you want to have a couple of properties by this point, a bunch of other things that you can invest in. It's not just real estate. And so just make sure that you pick a lane and you go hard in that lane. You learn everything you can in that lane. And I think 35 is that sweet spot where you're really is gonna be able to start building, because if you're at the wealthy stage, you've probably been at this for a while now. So you've been investing, you've been putting your money in the market, and now time is finally on your side and you're starting to see a lot of the rewards to the things that you did earlier. If you were started investing by age 25, when you're 35, that's 10 years of compounding interest. Even if it's just in the stock market, 10 years off of maybe, let's say 10% interest total. Guys, my returns have been looking way better than 10%, but that is just the industry average. You just invested in the S&P. Woo, y'all. I'm telling you, this is when 35 is when you would really start to see all of your hard work, sacrifice, and dedication. And it's a crucial age because for the people who did not do that, they are seeing the complete opposite, guys. They are probably in shambles and just really stressed and just wanting to figure out, why is this not working for me? What do I need to do to get my life together? Why do I have all this debt? Why am I not able to pay my bills? Why? And you're sitting there like this, comfortable. You were on your P's and Q's. And granted, not everybody was just sitting on their behind, partying, and not worried about their future. There are 100% people who work super hard and life circumstances have just kept pushing them back. I'm not talking to you. This is not at you. I'm talking to the people who are wasting their money, using buy now, pay later methods, literally buying concert tickets and going to Disney World on credit cards, buying luxury handbags, going on vacations. Those are the people I'm talking to. I love y'all down, but y'all have to stop. You must be stopped. 2026, we're not accepting this behavior anymore. We're putting it down. Playtime over, this is a big league. All right, 40. Be rich by age 40. You are making $150,000 to $300,000 a year, and you have a net worth of $1 to $2 million. This is awesome. Congratulations. You've done a good job so far, but we can do better. So we're gonna hop over to the wealthy side. So to be wealthy by age 40, we'll be looking at having a $2 million to $4 million net worth. We're gonna have multiple streams of income, and we're most certainly going to have a clear long-term plan. And yes, that means you might have to write something down. At 40, wealthy people are buying freedom and not things. I'm gonna say that again. At 40, wealthy people are buying freedom and not things. The wealthiest people you will ever meet, you would never even know that they're wealthy or have a cent or anything special to their name, because they don't have to flex on you. Being wealthy is the flex. Having time to do whatever you want and the freedom to do whatever you want, that is the flex. It's silent. Wealth, true wealth is silent. And once you start going around people who are wealthy and you start realizing, oh, they got it like that, because they don't feel the need to publicize it to the world that they have money sometimes. But on the flip side, a lot of rich people will have you thinking that they got it like that, but in reality, they're really struggling. They're making $150,000 to $300,000, but guess what? Their mortgage is $6,000 a month. They're in a car with a car payment of $2,000 a month. They got student loans they ain't paid back. They haven't invested in their 401k as much as they should have. They didn't take advantage of the full match that their employer was trying to give them, free money. They didn't enroll in their employee stock purchase plan. Need I say more? They're not doing what they need to do for sustainability. Forget rich. I don't want to hear that word anymore. I don't know that word no more. Wealthy, and it's gonna be silent. We don't have to tell nobody. Keep it between you and God and the people closest to you, your family and friends. You don't need to tell anybody that you're building. Just duck off. By 50 years old, to be considered rich, you still need to have a very high income job, at least 150 to 300K plus, right? By age 50, but your net worth is gonna be $3 to $5 million. And once again, nothing wrong with these things. Those are great numbers. They sound like a great place to be in. And most people would dream of having those sorts of metrics at any point in time in life. Literally right now, I would love it. But Let's see what it takes to be wealthy. Age 50, to be considered wealthy, we need to have a net worth of $6 to $10 million. By age 50, we need to start thinking about pulling back on the risk meter. We're not spring chickens anymore. We need to ensure our future, so our risk tolerance is a little bit lower than it was when you were 25. Our focus shifts from a growth perspective to a preservation perspective. It's not always about the chase. We don't always need more. Like I said, these numbers are great. The rich numbers and the wealth numbers. Now, if you're in the wealth category at age 50, you don't have to keep going. You did it. Take a beat, enjoy your life. You only get one. Be intentional and consider what you're going to do with your money and how you're going to be able to enjoy that time that you bought. Don't feel the need to keep up with the Joneses and buy the new car and the new that. You don't need it. And really by this point, you probably have had the things and you probably have realized that the things don't matter. So spend that money on moments, time together, maybe some vacations with your family. Do something nice for somebody else. I understand a lot of people don't like retiring and you always want to do something and stay busy. That's completely fine. Nobody's telling you to just stop working forever, but also look up, touch the grass, spend time where it matters because time is the real luxury and you've just bought it. Last age we're going to look at is 60 and up. So by 60 years old, to be considered rich, you would just want to have a comfortable lifestyle and a net worth of $4 million to $7 million. That will give you general comfort. But what it won't do is provide for your kids' future. And that's important to you. Let's get the metrics we would need to be wealthy by age 60. Being wealthy means having $8 to $15 million of net worth. It also means that you're estate planning and having a real impact on generational wealth for your family. Your wealth is going to outlive you and generations to come will be thanking you for this. It will open so many opportunities and doors that you cannot even have imagined. And it will just bring you so much peace to know that it was all worth something and that it will be passed down appropriately. One of the huge keys that I need you to listen to is building all this wealth means nothing if you do not estate plan. Because there have been people who are worth millions. I'm talking $60 million plus, and who have been held up in court because they did not estate plan. They put things in wills and then had to go through the court system and have their assets allocated the way that they intended. These things can go on for years. They can go into court for years. Estate planning means putting your assets into things like trusts so that whenever you pass on, it is a smooth transition process and everybody knows who's getting what and the court system doesn't even have to get involved. Please do not put it in the court's hands because they will you over every time. People always think that having a will means that you've done your job. You've planned your estate. And I can understand that thought process because I thought that too at one point. But come to find out, it helps to a certain extent. Having a will is better than not having a will. Having a trust is better than having a will. So there's levels to it. And that's why it's really important for us to continue to learn about different systems can bring us and how we can use them to our benefit. Here's the truth that most people are going to miss. Being wealthy isn't about having a certain net worth. It's about being able to fund your life without fear, without feeling like if I don't have Social Security, if I don't have this, if I don't have that, then when I get older, I won't have security. I won't have safety. I won't have peace of mind. I won't have a place to lay my head. My children won't have a place to lay their head. Children's children won't have a place to lay their head. And we can take steps now to prevent that. Take selfless action that will help all the people that come behind us. I want you to ask yourself something. How much does it cost every year to live a peaceful life? What number would it be that would allow margin for me and not stress? And lastly, what allows me to give, to be able to rest, and to show up fully for the people that I love? Rich or wealth number is something extremely personal. And internally, you should be feeling calm about it, not competitive. I believe that money is a tool and not the goal. And that when you're building wealth, you're able to open the door to so many different opportunities. No matter what it is that you believe in, I think this general principle is the same and can resonate with everybody. What we build should make life better for more than just ourselves. If you're serious about ownership, start with education. And if you're serious about education, subscribe to Glowing Together.